What up, guys? Chuck Rucker, Ruck's Place the podcast, and this is my 2025 recap. I thank you guys for popping in. And if you got a moment or two, hang out with me. And if you don't, I understand and respect that too. I wish you guys the best of the New Year's and your celebration, and in your resolutions, and your resets, and whatever it is that you have planned to get done in the new year. Maybe God assist, cover, and be with you. And hopefully we all get to, or close to, by the next New Year's, that which we set down as our goals and our desires, and, whatever experiences and whatever you want to create with your life. So let me pull up a couple of my notes real quick, and bear with me for a second, and I'll pull them up, and we'll get right into it. To everybody that rocks with me, that you shoot me videos or you shoot me pictures of, you listening to the podcast in the car, or you listening to the pod in the gym, in your headphones, on your exercises, in your walks, wherever it is that you're listening to me. I hope I'm doing my job. I hope I'm doing what I feel like I was called to do, and that is to educate, entertain, and strike a chord with you emotionally. Hopefully, by the end of this recap, what I'm asking you guys to do me a favor. Do me one big solid, and that is there's three factors in this whole world of content creation, and in anything in life, pretty much. If you're in sales, or you're working, and whatever it is that you're doing, just do me a solid, and that is to judge me. I'm asking for your judgment, right? I'm not running from your judgment. So if you could, I'd appreciate it if you would. But judge me on, know, like, and trust. Those three factors: know, like, and trust. If you feel like by the end of this spill, then if you feel like you know me, then that's dope. If you feel like you like me, by the end of it, that's dope. And if you feel like you know and you like me, and you can trust me to sell you everything that I got, the shirt off my back, the microphone under my shirt, all of it, I got you. I can sell it to you, and I can help you out. But if it's just taking advice from me, I've been through a few things, I got a few, you could see. I've been around the block a couple times, and I found myself when at some point I didn't know what direction this life was taking me in. I didn't know who I wanted to be, like so many of you, right? Or not. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I didn't know how I wanted it to end up. I didn't know how I wanted it to turn out. And then I put 3 souls in the world and had to reset and do that all over again. 3 daughters, and how they turn out, and how that that whole reset happened. And so far so good. So far so good. I'm here, and I'm able to just kind of kick it with you guys. And that's part of my segue lead into whatever you want to call it, this episode. So without further ado, let's jump into it, right? So the first question I ask myself is what took place in my personal life in terms of what changed, say, from last year, 2024, going into 2025, in my personal situation. And some of you may not, personal, this is about you. It's about my recap. So if you could just bear with me, it's about you guys as well, because you guys helped me shape my mindset and allow me to have a mind shift, right? In my personal growth, right? And what I was challenging myself to do was to become more and more outward, to get into more and more deeper conversations that when you get up and you walk away from the conversation, you're satisfied because you've heard something, or there was an exchange, even if there was a disagreement on whatever the issue might have been, that you walked away feeling like, all right, we got past that or through that, or we're going somewhere with what we just, established as we've had these conversations, right? And so in my personal growth, at some point I got stuck, which is the reason I even created Ruck's Place, is because I was stuck. And I knew I wanted more. I felt like my life was there was more to it. And it was confirmed or affirmed or reaffirmed by just certain people in my life that, studied and watched me and had the nerve to tell me that I needed to do something bigger than what I was doing at the time. And that had a lot to do with real estate. And that had a lot to do with property management. And that had a lot to do with very, very high-end, high-profile people. And they had figured their lives out, at least from a financial standpoint, for sure. The marriages weren't too great, but they had figured some things out. Or I'm just saying, I'm just kidding, I'm just being silly. But I appreciate them just saying, to have somebody stop you and say, hey, listen, honestly, I was sitting in a law firm, in the conference room having lunch with one of my boys at the time, who told me that you better do something quick before you get too old to do whatever it is that that I see in you that maybe you don't believe yet, but it's there. And that touched me. It made me actually pay attention. And when I paid attention, I started on that journey of my personal growth. And I brought it in front of this camera a lot of times. And this caused me to grow as well, because I was scared as hell to jump in front of a camera and just start running off at the mouth and being who I am. Also, with my personal growth, I began to eat clean, right? I continued on that management of just my mental health. I started to run in the morning and at night, 1.5 miles to 2 miles, and that took some time. That took some time. Trust me. I thought I was going to pass out and be unalived for quite a few of those runs, man. I just, but I had to do it. I had to fix just some things now. And there's an interesting question that comes up that I ask, excuse me, guys, but I ask a lot of my guests and just people in general that I really rock with and I admire, because I'm always looking for people that excite me, that I admire. Their drive, their energy, their action, their impact, their influence, whatever you want to call it, man. I always ask, what are you running from? Because most successful people are running from something. And if they tell you they're not, that's bullshit, They're running from something. It could be the childhood, something that happened in the childhood. It could be something that happened in a relationship. It could be something that happened in business, on a job, on a sports team, maybe they got bullied at some point in life, maybe whatever it is, they didn't like their circumstances or their situation. They're running from poverty. They're running from whatever. And I always ask, what are you running from? And I know for me, I have run from a whole lot of stuff that's in the past that I've been able to now just share, because it's a part of the growth. There's no need to bottle it up anymore, because you bottle it up and eventually it takes over and it destroys you. It's not that you need to share your life, or I needed to share everything about my life, every detail with, social media, and that's not the case. Obviously, most of my life is private and it may not appear that way, but I do this and I do 100 other things. And however, I was able to break through, have some breakthroughs. And a lot of you guys, maybe you put on display something that you were going through. And I caught a wind of it and I caught a hold of it and I watched it and I listened and I paid attention and I sat through a webinar or two or three or four or five, or just the offerings that so many of you bring every day. You may not even understand how deeply or how far you reach with something so simple that can touch somebody and change them forever. I couldn't move the side of my face. I think I talked about that before. For a minute, it just kind of scared me. I couldn't do this. I couldn't. It just like my mind just wouldn't allow me to do that anymore. And someone said, Chuck, wink your eye on the side that you're not, or your mind is telling you, or you just can't break through. And I winked, and I was able to move my mouth again, which was, I just kind of chalked it up as, shit, I'm getting old. And because I'm getting old, these things fall away. And, it was almost like I was paralyzed. It's kind of scary. But anyway, you get the point. So personal growth, I kind of stole from some of you guys. And the question that I just posed of what are you running from? It's not to be answered by me. It's to be answered by you. And if you want to share what that may be, now that I posed that question to all of you who are watching, what are you running from? Interesting thing. One of my boys now said to me, it's not about what I'm running from. I'm finished running from the thing. Now is where I'm running to. And that just floored me, blew my mind. I was like, that's pretty dope. That was pretty deep. And it was. And so, again, that question is for you. However you want to handle that question, that's on you. And I think it'll be beneficial for you to stop, take a moment in some silence, put the phone down, write it down, journal it or whatever, however you want to do it, and answer the question for yourself if that is something that you need to do at this point in time and whatever it is that you're doing. So my third question was, my second question was, what took place business-wise, right? Obviously, a lot of I do, my wife and I are in real estate, been in real estate for decades. Yeah, and at first when I said that, I was like, I'm dating myself. Like, why would I do that? When so many people in this business catfish all day long, and no disrespect to anybody, but you can't send a picture or a headshot of yourself at 25 and you show up at the door with your market analysis report, your CMAs, and you're actually 45 or 55 or 65 or 75, because this game doesn't stop. And so from a business standpoint, I secured some of the biggest business number-wise that I've ever secured in my life. Now, those things, although were very attractive to me, and were like, I was excited that, wow, I got a multiple $1 million listing situation going on over here. And I got multiple listings. It was exciting in the beginning, but then reality sets in. You also have to sell those things, right? It's a trophy while it's out there circulating through your MLS or circulating on Zillow or wherever it is that you find your listings, and wherever it is that you find, when you're searching for properties for your buyers from a real estate family and community. Those things sit on the market longer. And I knew that. Some of the business that we were able to touch in one part of our business as well were the deals were because, my wife and I own a company and run a company. Mainly, she is the head of the company, Rucker, RETC, right? Which is an independent transaction coordination company. And we touch a lot of deals. She goes through a lot of paper, in terms of contracts, dotting the I's and crossing the T's for our clients and for the company's, company business. And and I do the legwork in other areas. And my end of it is the sales part of it. And so we saw some of the biggest deals that we've ever seen, and that is the 28 millions that actually close, and above that actually closed. And we saw some of the top players in the game just seemed like they were on fire this year, one after another. 11 million, 15 million, 20 million, same girl, you know what I'm saying? Week after week, and we were able to help businesses, those business independent contractors, whatever you want to call them, real estate brokers and broker, agents, or however you want to call it. All right, enough of it. But we were able to help close a lot of deals. We did really, really well. Not as well as we did back in COVID, but still, nonetheless, we were able to help people close some deals and make some coin. So in business, I was satisfied about 60-70%. Okay, but there were some things that I'm still not happy with, because I was under some pressure, under some deadlines, and made some promises that I wasn't able to keep, and not entirely on my end, because I did everything that I could in order to help a seller have a realistic idea of what their property could sell for, and them not listening because of so much of their memories or their ideas about their homes. The value that they wanted to put on a home was too high for the market at the current time. The market is alive. It moves up and down. As you guys know, in this real estate business, from one neighborhood to the next, you got a different market. You got some where you got people standing outside in a line to get inside to see an open house. And then in some, you got the most beautiful properties that not a soul walks through the house during the open. That happened to me. That happened to me in two separate properties, one which I own, that is beautiful. It's beautifully done. But I had a couple of times where nobody walked through my open houses, like zero, not a soul, which doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make you confident. That kind of chips at your armor in this business, kind of chips at how you see yourself and how you believe and what you believe about your capabilities. And man, that kind of shook me up. But hold on, guys. But yeah, that was my second question to myself. What was it like for business for me? And to be 100% honest, just to keep it a buck, I wanted to walk away from the business for many years. I just wanted to walk away. And 2025 tried me in that way, that I just wanted to really walk away. And I questioned myself, and I questioned God, and I questioned my partner, and I questioned the people we do business with, because there's a lot of hands that touch a real estate deal. And especially at the high levels of luxury real estate, a lot of hands touch the deals, because there's assistants, and then there's assistants of assistants, then there's assistant of assistant of assistant, and then there's, different type of paperwork that goes into it. NDAs, you can't say who this person is. You can't even know. I lost a deal because I knew somebody, which is crazy. You know somebody, and that other side find out that, these people. And then the next thing you know, you're cut out of the deal. In fact, I won't go into that, but it is a sensitive situation. And there's a lot of competition when people are making a lot of money. It's a whole level of intensity that goes behind it. And there's a whole different level of how people with a lot of money treat service people, business and real estate. And you have to be able to deal with personalities of people who make money fast and who make money large, because whatever it is and however the frequency that they're operating on, you have to build your way up to that, or step in the fire and get burned, because you will get burned. And you got to know how to you got to be patient. You have to learn how to be patient. You have to learn how to know what your goals and stand on some kind of foundation, because if you don't, you will get ran over. And so in business, for me, it could have been better. It could have been better. I could have been a lot better. And I paid a price for it, for not being better. And I'm still paying that price for not being better, because things kind of fall apart when they did, man. They just fucking fell apart, when I didn't get it right. I missed the mark, or I failed to persuade or influence who I was dealing with to follow my lead sometimes, which is another thing that's kind of difficult to do. But that's also at your everyday layman price points as well, where people don't listen all the time, and it kind of throws things off. It messes up the process. But you know what? It's part of the process. So I'm not crying. So don't get that from this. I'm not crying. I'm just saying it's part of it. But I cried. I finally broke down and cried because it hurt sometimes. It hurt when your family is looking at you as the man. You got 3 daughters that you're trying to be the man for, and you fail. And I failed sometimes. And I had to present myself in front of them as I failed. And to have them take, even, women take shots at you, man. You raise some girls, man. At some point, they look at you like, man, either you're their hero or, they can see your holes. They can see your flaws, right? And some of you can see the flaws. There's nothing to hide here on my end. There's a lot of flaws, a lot of, there's a lot of things that are not perfect. They are not what they appear to be sometimes, but thank God, I would say 90% of what I present is, that 10% window. I know you're going to destroy me on 10%, but I just give it to you raw. I just give you what I am. And I'm not like many, but I just don't fit in, and I'm proud of that. But I just give you who I am. And so that's, for that question, what was business like? And then for my third question, I asked, what took place in my podcasting space and what was my focus? Now, if you guys have followed the pod, I'm consistent every Friday. It may be a little later in the time, of the day in which it's dropped, but it's coming every Friday and occasionally on a Saturday. But, I decided this year that I was going to focus on building me, peeling back the layers of this onion, this stinky onion. So it can make you cry, right? If you get too close to an onion for too long, you cry. And I wanted to, I was peeling layers of myself back, to be honest. So I didn't want to get into so many interviews, sitting on the sofa or sitting across, or even in the Zoom, which I actually like a lot to do my Zooms, because then I can edit the footage and I can edit the videos in a very favorable way to my guests, right? But I wanted to focus and build myself, right? I wanted to let go some of the fear, some of my anxiety, some of the things that scared the sugar honey iced tea out of me. And I didn't want to be running around and putting myself in situations where I wasn't ready or wasn't prepared for. I do enough interviewing when I'm selling real estate, when I'm conducting open houses, when people are in my face all the time, or I'm in their faces all the time, explaining and educating and consulting all the time. I've done this for like 21 years, to be honest. So it's nothing for me to be in front of people talking. But still, there's parts of me that need to be released, that kind of pulls at my strings and kind of blocks me in. It doesn't allow me to grow in a way that I feel like I should be there already, and you're holding me back, whatever personality that's going on inside of me that keeps me stuck, in some areas. But a lot of you may see things that I may post and do, and you're like, I don't believe him, I don't trust that, I don't like him, the no, like, and trust, right? I don't believe that, and it's understandable. I get it, sometimes I don't believe it, for my damn self. But yeah, I was so challenged in business, and I cried sometimes, and it was hard because I hadn't cried for years, but I cried and I yelled out and lashed out at God, and I know he laughed at me, and thank God he has a sense of humor. But yeah, so that was that. All right, so I asked myself, what were my low points, my lowest points of 2025, and I did have some really low points in 2025, man. This year kicked my ass from a health standpoint. I experienced, I thought I was Superman, right? But I'm not, obviously. Or am I? No, I thought I was Superman, but I ran into some things that health-wise that challenged me to no end. Like when you don't know what's going to happen from one second to the next, when your body presents you with some things that you never even fathomed that your body would do to you, I experienced some things that I won't go too deep into it, that I did actually go kind of deep into it on one of my episodes. I talked about being trapped between sips of water. And I was literally trapped between sips of water. And yeah, man, that feeling of, where you don't have any control, where nothing else matters but what's happening to you, and you have things that matter around you, like your family, like your children, like your wife, and like the bills and the mortgages and the businesses and, clients who need you like yesterday, and you cannot be present for them, and then dumping everything onto your partner's lap, and your partner starts to drown because, they can't hold up those areas which you were holding up. And you never see yourself in that situation. We think that we are actually superheroes, and we're not. We have our limitations, and I found what my limitations were. And thank God I was able to get past some of those limitations. I was scarred mentally, emotionally, which created anxiety and depression. But I just kept my faith strong, right? Because I got a really strong faith, super faith. I just believe God is everything, and I think God will conquer anything that is happening to you or to me, and I trust that he does. But I also know that you got to do your part. You can't be so over religious. Well, let me not preach to you guys. So over religious on my end that I just feel that I could just pray and God's going to do everything for me. It don't happen like that. Not in my life. It didn't happen like that. But for my life, no, it didn't. So I was able to overcome that with some help from some doctors, one family member, and then referred me to another of his colleagues that kind of brought my situation of immense, tremendous pain to a complete halt. Praise God and thank you for those guys who really took care of me. And I had to be patient, and I had to, while I was being patient, I had to figure out how to survive. And a lot was going on, man. Woo, a lot was going on, but I was able to survive through it, and I'm here, and I'm kind of emotional right now about it, and that was kind of deep. And then leaving my other half to kind of carry all the weight, kind of, you don't realize how important the people around you, especially those who support you, especially those who are partnered with you for whatever, in whatever way, are until they're gone, right? They say, what's those sayings, man? They're just saying, you don't miss it until it's gone. And it's a fact. And so I had some ironing out to do after I was able to come to and get myself back on track. I had to really get refocused, and not only refocused, to just operate differently, right? And then there was a change in me because those things happened. These kind of things, trauma will change you. Trauma will have you looking for God when you are so arrogant and so full of yourself that you act as if God doesn't create the air that you breathe, that just went through your lungs, that you just inhaled and exhaled while you listen to me boring you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like you can't see the wind. I'm telling my kids that, like, but you can feel it, right? You can tell it's blowing. You can tell when it's standing still. And so whomever is doing that is bigger than us because it covers the entirety of everything, right? That's why we breathe. That's why we live, because of that. So whatever you want to call that, call it what you want to call it, but I call it God, okay? So, but yeah, so those were my lowest moments, like, that changed me. But not only did it change me in a way in which that, you don't throw caution to the wind on anything. Everything is important. Some things may not need your immediate. And I say that because small things become big things. Mustard seed faith could get you into heaven's gates, man. Something as small as a mustard seed, according to the word. You know what I mean? So, yeah, don't keep ignoring those small things or those things that you think are small to you. And don't think that it has to be a big thing in order for you to move, in terms of learning something new. $1 stacked on top of another dollar eventually adds up to $2, $3, $4, $5, right? And on and on and on, right? And $1 taken off a stack kind of leads to the demise. No, but you get it. Yeah, man. So I had some really low moments that even I turned to social media. I started going live on certain social media platforms just to feel something more than what I was going through, just to feel something different, right? In order to get back up on my bike and start to pedal again, which because of those low moments that we have, those low moments cause us to move differently from the way that you may be moving. And because they cause you to move differently, then new things new possibilities, new experiences, and new opportunities can present themselves, and you could actually grab hold of those things. That, opportunity doesn't knock at the door until you get yourself into some shit. Excuse the French, but sometimes we're forced to change the course. That's a bar, baby. That's a bar, And so, yeah, I grew. It changed me. I'm in front of this camera today talking to you in this way, which I hadn't done before, which I feel like I grew. And now I could be even more raw and just be, just be, just be, you know, just be. I am who I am, you know. I am like the image of God, like the reflection of God, right? God says I am, and He is. So, you know, with that being said, and you know, to my last point in my recap, I got in a lot of trouble, man. I got in a lot of trouble. 2025, you know, things went south. I mean, I must have written about 15 multi-million-dollar deals that didn't see the light of day. But that little engine that could, on the other side of my business, on the other side of where my partner lies, she kept that humming, that train humming along, and we worked together. We have a powwow every morning. We had some victories, man. And we did it in front of our kids. We did it in front of the girls. And which was very important to us, to do it in front of the kids. If it's positive, if it's challenging, if it makes you cry, if it makes you just be who you are, do it in front of them, and try not to mess them up too badly. You know, we make mistakes as parents. You know, we're not perfect. Nobody is. We just are not perfect people. It just one perfect. That was God, and that is God, the living God, right? So, yeah, I got in a lot of trouble that I'm working my way through, right? Picking up the pieces of the holes that I did, that I dug. Had some wins and I dug some holes, right? Balance, right? Probably got in a way deeper hole than I had wins for me. You know what I'm saying? And almost broke my family, which they mean the world to me. You know, you guys are part of my family as well. You mean the world to me. And if there's anything, like I've said on several of my postings, that, you know, just if there's ever anything that I could help you with, especially when it comes to real estate, that is just what I do. 21 years, that's something that I know how to do in my sleep, and I have been trying to run away from it for many, many years. And I got away a few times, but not too far away, because it was always real estate related, you know, and the things that I got into. But here I am, just I speak the language and I live the life so of it. And I don't mean that in any, you know, comparative way to anybody else's life. I'm just saying I've had my experiences, and I can help you, and I could teach you, and I could show you, I can mentor you. You could sign up and be coached by me, and I guarantee you that if you need a sensible person, a logical person, someone who's just going to tell you the truth about your situation, if you allow me to look at it, then you're going to get that from me. You know, my kids are a testament to it. Just got my oldest girl into the real estate game after she had gone out and tried some other things. And, men in power. When it comes to a beautiful women, let me tell you something. My kids are beautiful, and I don't just say that because they're mine. They are beautiful women. Some men, and no disrespect to any of the men, but some men hate a beautiful woman. Can I say that again? There's a lot of men that hate a beautiful woman. Now, they love to, I've seen it. I'm just saying, man, it just seemed like it. You know, they love to be with you. They love to, you know, be seen with you. But some of them, not all, I'm just saying, guys, I'm just telling the truth. Some of them want to keep a beautiful woman under their foot. And it's sad, man, because my daughters have experienced some of these men in professional settings. Thank God, not in the personal, but in professional settings. Shameful, man, you know. But that's a whole nother thing. and I dealt with some of that. I got my girl into the family business. So hopefully I'll get my other two into the family business when the time comes. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll cut my little spiel off, right? I might have bored you if you're still with me already. If you left already and tuned back in, thank God it's on YouTube so you can scroll through it and rewind it, flip it, and and some of it, you may not agree with. Some of it, you may like it. I appreciate you anyway. What will 2026 look like for me? And honestly, it will be more real estate. It will be a lot more of the podcasts. I will definitely focus more on my podcasting and actually having my guests, and having people with tremendous stories and who've made little impact, and those who've made an enormous impact on the community, in the world. I'm definitely after you guys. So that is what 2026 looks like for me, to be able to put myself in a position to talk to more people and to learn things, because there is so much value given in webinars. I would love to do webinars to teach and coach and help people just get their mind right. But there's a lot of people with a lot of value that create a harvest for the world, because their gardens are filled with the greatest nutrients in terms of the nuggets and the gifts, spiritually, financially, and educationally, and and their trials and their tribulations and their wins and their losses shared helps and takes care of all of us. And if we all could contribute to the pot, which, a lot of people don't like that. That's socialist. No. But a lot of people, if we can contribute to the pot, we could all have a much more quality existence, I believe, truly. So for 2026, I want to make a bigger impact. And I would like to share my light in some of the experiences that I didn't share in 2025 with you guys. And hopefully we can grow together, and hopefully I can earn your listenership and your viewership and some of your friendships. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with your boy, Chuck Rucker. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. May God's blessings reach you in your time of needs, in your time of just on time, because he's always